Odyssey app, sports talk, music, news, and podcasts. All available, completely free. You can catch every Warriors game live on the app along with all the music and news the Bay Area needs, and you can follow your favorite teams, stations, radio shows, podcasts now by downloading the free Odyssey app. Don't forget about YouTube. Catch us out there. Shout out to YouTube right now, Comcast Business Text Line, and, of course, Twitch. David Lombardi, 8:30. Of course, from The Athletic, covers the 49ers. We'll get the vibe of OTAs, who looks good, who doesn't. We'll get in the quarterback talk with him. Dalton Johnson, 9:20, to talk about the Golden State Warriors here on the Morning Roast. I want to play this, Shasky, before we get into the segment. Ryan Leaf the other day with Willard and Dibs on if Lance fails, who does that fall on?
If ownership and John Lynch decide to move off that spot this year, people are going to look at Trey Lance and use the word bust. Look at John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and go, you guys didn't do your job. You guys didn't do your job and scout him right. If it doesn't work out, and if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and ownership have to get rid of him after 4 starts, they're the ones that are going to have to wear that. That's who should be wearing the ownership of John Lynch is a bust GM. Kyle Shanahan is a bust head coach. They could not figure this out. They did all of those things. And so maybe I'm just too close to it because of that ownership of mine. But I do think that has to play into this, and he shouldn't have to take the brunt of it because he never got a chance to do it.
What do you think about that?
I just think we throw the bust word around way too, I struggle with that one, like the bust word, right? To me, a bust is somebody who, literally cannot play in the NFL, can't function at all, and by year 3 or whatever is out of the league.
Right.
Right? I don't know, man. Is Sam Darnold the bust?
He hasn't played well.
I don't even think he's a bust. I just think he's not very good.
Yeah, he hasn't played well.
A bust to me means you also proactively tried to sabotage yourself. Meaning not only did you see the way I view, and maybe I view it differently. Not only did you miss on the physical evaluation of can you play the game, you also missed on the emotional or the mental part of it as well. Right? So Aldon Smith, say what you want. Physically he could play. Look, bro, fair or not, you failed him on the infrastructure, and you failed scouting the dude. You missed on that. And you can say whatever you want.
But I wouldn't call him a bust because in 4 or 5
years,
unbelievable. He's done more than a lot of players we've seen. He did a lot more to Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas is a bust, and they were both top 10 picks.
He also self-sabotaged his own career. But he's an extreme case because of how great he was.
Right. His problems, though, weren't on the field. He produced on the field.
But part of drafting a guy is making sure he can get on the field.
But performance-based.
No, that I agree with.
He was a baller.
That I agree with.
Performance-based, Solomon Thomas was not. Reuben Foster was not.
Well, Reuben Foster's a great example of another one. Failed the physical. The Niners approved him. They drafted him. Yep. Had unbelievable character issues that people were saying were red flags. They whiffed on that. So not only did they miss on the physical evaluation, right? And he was okay. I don't even know. I thought he was going to be better in the NFL.
Right.
Maybe I missed too. But they also missed on the person evaluation.
Right. They missed on that. I don't think the person, Trey Lance, is a bust.
No, that's where I'm going.
Kid. He seems like a great kid. But when we want to talk about bust, I look at Blaine Gabbert still holding the clipboard in the league. To me, he's a bust. He's picked in the top 5. Top 5. Over Cam. People were saying, oh, man, he's going to be better than Cam Newton. Blah, 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 blah. It's all good.
And he was another guy. He wasn't even good at Missouri.
He wasn't. But yet he still gets a hold of clipboard.
But because it was Division I, everybody elevated. It's dude, Missouri was garbage.
Well, he's a good locker room guy, so he could stick on the football team. Really? That's what we're doing now? We're giving Quiet Boys a shot? But Ryan Leaf says something at the beginning. Yeah, I thought you were going to go with this one.
Well, no, and Johnny Manziel from 408. That's a bust.
No doubt. That's
right?
A bust.
He can't play at the big league level, and he can't get along with anyone.
But I was going to go with this
What's
clip.
that?
He started at the beginning saying, why is it an indictment on Trey if it doesn't work out? Why aren't we looking at Shanahan and Lynch?
It's on everyone.
Because Shanahan and Lynch drafted him. They traded draft capital, and I don't care who they wanted. You can make the argument that they really wanted Matt Jones, but you took Trey Lance.
Well, that's on them.
And if we're keeping it a buck, the jury's out on Brock Purdy. Here's where I'm going with this. What quarterback has gotten better under Kyle Shanahan? Did Jimmy Garoppolo get better or worse under Kyle Shanahan? Did Nick Mullins get worse?
You could probably make an argument he was playing his best football this last year. Even then, it wasn't spectacular. but he also had the best roster around him. At any point in his sin, but like he gets credit for that. So I could make an argument this actual year where Jimmy barely worked with Kyle in the offseason,
exactly,
and barely practiced with him leading up to it, might have been their best work.
Right, but for the most part, he did not get better under Kyle Shanahan.
Look,
correct?
No doubt.
Nick Mullins, did he get better under Kyle Shanahan?
I mean, he had moments, but no.
Did C.J. Beathard get better under Kyle Shanahan?
No.
So
who's still in the league?
We'll find out if Brock Purdy gets better under Kyle Shanahan. But what Ryan Leaf said at the beginning of that clip, this is also on Lynch and Shanahan if it doesn't work out. You drafted him knowing he was a project. You failed him. You brought in Brian Griese, a different type of quarterback than Trey Lance that we all thought he was. You brought in Brian Griese. You got rid of Rich Scangarello, who wouldn't even work out with him and ripped him on the way out. That's an indictment on this team,
who also
on this organization.
Rick Scangarello, by the way, is also getting destroyed by actual NFL and college evaluators for how he handled the quarterback in Kentucky. They said it was one of the worst offenses they've ever seen in their life.
Oh, they said Will Levis got worse.
Yes.
He's the reason why Will Levis dropped in the draft, which is unbelievable. But Trey Lance, if he doesn't work out with the 49ers, they have to overcome this. This is a big swing and a miss if it doesn't work out. It would behoove the Niners to have Trey Lance work out. It would. Wouldn't you wanted to after giving up all that draft capital to Miami? Well, this is something that could set you back because, again, we don't know about Brock Purdy's elbow moving forward.
Agreed. But there's two paths this can go for them to be successful. And I'm talking about for them to evade criticism. The first path, Brock Purdy does, or Sam Darnold becomes that guy, they win a Super Bowl. You do that, you spray the deodorant all over whatever the funk is of missing on Trey Lance, and it's meaningless. No one will think twice about it. No one will think twice about it. Heck, to this day, there are Giants fans who are like, oh, Zito contract was worth it. And talking about just 2010, forget 2012. 2010, oh, it was worth it. They won it all. It's like, Zito was horrific. He was a net negative, and anchored you down and had a chance to win and clinch the playoffs on that Saturday before the final game of the year. But no, it was garbage. That was a terrible signing, okay? But there are people that'll say, it didn't matter, they still won the championship. So that's the one side. The other side is Trey does blossom and develop into the guy that they want him to. It feels like anything in the middle, they're going to get crushed. And I kind of see it. Here's the thing, too, I actually... Again, even if they swing and miss on Trey Lance, this is my particular opinion. People can be angry. Mac Jones ain't it either. To me, at least at that spot, trading what you traded to go up to 3. Mac Jones ain't it either.
You don't move up for Mac Jones.
And you know what? Honestly, I don't even think it's the most egregious mistake because at least you swung big on a quarterback at the most important position. To me, you know what the most egregious mistake you've made is? Doubling down on a defensive tackle who's a 2-down lineman with a bum knee. That's a bad pick. That's bad value. You want some about bad value?
No.
Taking when you rotate defensive linemen like I'm chewing gum, and you take a guy who failed the physical, has the bum knee, and he's only a 2-down lineman.
That's
at 13?
That's a bad pick.
That, to me, is the more egregious pick than swinging big on a quarterback and missing.
But it's also...
To me.
Well, to you... I don't agree with that, but I think it's an egregious pick in terms of Javon Kinlaw because you traded DeForest Buckner to just draft another D tackle.
You know what? That's the other part that I forgot.
You didn't want to pay a guy who's already established.
Yes.
I'd rather pay an established guy in DeForest Buckner and keep him, who's a great locker room guy. You want to talk about off and on the field? We always talk about how do you represent the franchise off the field? Well, Buckner represented the franchise very well off the field, so you don't re-sign him. Instead, you're saying, you know what? Year left on the deal. I'm going to just trade you now because we're far apart on the money. I ride it out with DeForest Buckner. That, to me, compounded the mistake of doubling down. Because then, all of a sudden, the Niners, what they did, not even thinking about it. You take Javon Kinlaw and you give him number 99, and all of a sudden, the fan base loves DeForest Buckner. So already Javon Kinlaw's fighting an uphill battle. Already. He comes into the organization, damn, I'm wearing number 99. I'm replacing a captain on his football team, the Len Eschmont Award winner. And I got to live up to what Buckner did over the last 5 years. Oh boy, I'm done. Well, and now look at Kinlaw. He's an afterthought.
Well, and let's play it forward just a little. 3 years ago, you took Kinlaw, you traded away DeForest Buckner, And you know what you just spent this offseason? 3 years and $39 million to replace
Javon Hargrave,
DeForest Buckner.
Yep.
Right? So it's not just the move; it's the combination of
Yep.
moves that you do around that. Right?
No
Like
doubt.
that's the way I view it. Part of what makes Fred Warner so amazing is the backstory of. Well, you spent a ton on Quan Alexander because you missed on Malcolm Smith and you paid him a ton of money and you missed on Reuben Foster. But no one remembers that. You know why? Because you hit a grand slam with Fred Warner.
Yep.
So you either have to hit a grand slam with Brock Purdy, which
For 8 games
feels
last
like
year,
they have.
for 8 games, you stumbled into Brock
feels
Purdy.
like you have.
And the Niners get credit. The guy was the last pick of the draft. So every team passed up on Brock Purdy at least 7 times.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The Niners included.
And the Niners included.
6.
And it got him. And they were ready to risk him just becoming a free agent.
Well, can I also bring this aspect up? Like, as we're just talking about misses and everything, Mike McGlinchey stunk. All these people carrying water for the last 4 years on Mike McGlinchey. You took him 10th overall with other needs and other players on the board and moved off of Trent Brown, which I know Trent Brown's not the greatest vehicle of this. Belichick made it work with Trent Brown. Now it was only a year or whatever. I think, did the Raiders pay him big money?
Yeah, they would pay him. But Trent Brown won a Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. Trent Brown was really good. You moved off of a solid player that you didn't want to give a 5th-year option to. You took Mike McGlinchey when Derwin James was on the board, and Mike McGlinchey was and he was hurt.
Yep.
So, like, Trey Lance being good, bad, bust, this, that, the other, it's not the only position where they've had to double and triple down because they've missed.
No doubt. But now they've overcome a lot of these mistakes, right? At some point, it catches up to you.
Yes.
At some point, it's going to catch up. And you said this in the last segment, and I kind of believe this as well.
What's that?
This feels like the last ride with this current core.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Debo's going to be back 2 years from now. I don't know if Ayuk's going to be here. Are they going to pay Brendan Ayuk? George Kittle, they just took 2 tight ends in the NFL draft.
What about Trent Williams? Is he going to retire?
Could be his last year. So with this core group, all these misses at some point catch up to you. And if Trey Lance doesn't work out, I do believe that could catch up to you. Now, it's a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy.
Yes.
Because then all of a sudden you got to pivot and pay him. Is he going to be healthy for the duration of his career? He's got a small frame. Defense is starting to catch up to him at some point. Now, we'll talk to David Lombardi about it. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are very high on Brock Purdy. He's the quarterback one for now.
And rightfully so.
He's the quarterback one for now.
Yeah, he is.
But if he's not QB1 week 1, what about Trey? What about Trey? Are we ready to give the keys to Sam Darnold after 5 year data of him seeing ghost?